Greetings and grace be unto all of you with love, joy, peace, prosperity, and longevity from God our Father and from our Lord Jesus Christ. Yeah, and God morning to every one of you. Hey, listen, I don't know what's really going on. I remember in the book of Acts, they every time they got filled with the Holy Ghost, they got something different. Man, I've been feeling this overwhelming joy. Yeah, despite no matter what's going on in my life, what's happening. See, that's what I'm talking about. And I don't know, is it some kind of illness? But nevertheless, it's a wonderful morning out here in Red Oak, North Carolina. I ain't even gonna try to pronounce the name of that. It's Enos Memorial Park. I think I got it. But nevertheless, um, I've been thinking some more about that military experience. And, you know, uh, in Philadelphia, it was so much gang warring going on back in the 70s, early 70s, killing each other. But the military, the government started recruiting them. And from the high school I attended, Edison High School, that was where the most of the 19-year-old, 18-year-old, 17-year-olds came from. And they went to Vietnam, the number one high school in the country that recruited blacks to go into the war. But nevertheless, when I went in 1973, I had several reasons to go in. One, the streets of Philadelphia were dangerous. I couldn't go to school. A lot of us couldn't go to school. Man, they were killing a lot. Just going to school, it was dangerous. When I say it was much dangerous, more dangerous than it is now, nah. Not today, you know. But when I went in, I was 17, uh, 16, got a young girl pregnant. I was like a Raggedy Ann doll. I was raggedy. I was a pow. I was a pill popping, smoking a lot of pot and drinking. Back then, a lot of pill popping stuff. So, I was kind of knocked off, with a name of Wino Bug. But, they were some joyous times. But when I went into the military, man, boot camp. Some of the time you see that stuff on, what you say on TV and stuff, and it seems like that stuff can't be real. Man, it's not real on TV. When they take, when they took us and they put us in a gas chamber, like, that's for training. Man, are you kidding me? We had to go in like it was like a little shower area, an old building that they wasn't using or something. And they had all the steam and water going on. So we done made our rounds, whatever we was doing, exercise, marching, whatever it was. And they took us in that building. And now they told us, put your gas mask on your face. So, okay. Everybody, when they tell you do something in the boot camp, you do your best to do it as fast as possible and the right way. Because there was some punishment all the time, But when it came down to going into that, like I said, it was like a shower, like a building, and they had us put our mask on, made sure they was tightened up. We stood in the formation and everything. Formation was that was the number one thing. But nevertheless, standing in formation, and then they had us to go inside that building. And when we went inside the building, we went in like one behind another. It wasn't that big building. And yeah, I guess about 30 of us in a platoon. But nevertheless, when we started going through there, they told us to take our mask off. Now, I don't know what kind of gas it was. Hey, good morning, sir. All right now. I don't know what kind of gas it was. I don't know. But I know all of us was choking and gagging. We kids. we were, they called that training, man. Was that some stress? But anyway, uh, so then as we go through and we walking and we going through and they're having us take our masks off, then they just told us to sing uh, the Star Spangled Banner or the Marine Corps hymn or something we had to sing, and we in there crying with our tears and everything, and gas, and all that stuff. We was going, listen, man, to a kid, that was like torture. And then once because there was like a door on this side and a door on the other side. So when we went through, when we got on the other side, there was Sergeant Sharpshaw. This guy looked like he was built like a Sherman tank. This guy had all kinds of muscles. This is a big dude. Yeah, he was black. And when he met us on the other side, they start punching us in the gut. We already gasping for air. They punched us in the gut, and we supposed to be singing this song while we coming out and stuff like that. So to me, personally, that was like torture. I can't put that on no racism. That was some kind of system they had. I don't know what they got today. They got cell phones in the field today. I don't know, but then it was kind of heavy, you know. So when we dealt with that kind of situation, so all of that, a whole lot of it seemed like, hey, good morning, seemed like it was like torture and stuff, right? And that was just the gas going through it was like going through the gas chamber, not standing there to die close to it. But listen, uh, so now one day we go to the rifle range and, you know, in the, like, if I was to give parallel to prison in the government and the military, it was always about counting. They always kept a count. All of us had to line up, and the military lined up in formation. And in the prison house, you line up at that gate while they come out and count you. So now we go to the rifle range one day because all of it is part of training. It's heavy stuff. So we get there, and this guy from Philadelphia named Purnell, and he just did not want them to break him. He would holler and shout the loudest, yes, sir, no, sir. They took it as sarcasm, right? But it was. He was from Philadelphia, right? Right? Hard-headed, but Purnell, and he was good at it. But so we go to a rifle range, and that's the time when the sergeants are the nicest. They real nice at the rifle range, right? So Purnell, now he already, a couple of us from Philadelphia, we we see what was happening. So what was going down. So now Purnell, he takes and now we shooting this way, right? Now he got his safety on, but nobody knows it. So he turns around and the sergeant and say, hey, something wrong with my rifle. And all the sergeants were back there. You'd never seen them so take cover so fast. But no, he didn't get in no trouble because they didn't understand. But he put some fear in their heart. But they rough on recruits. And, I guess that's what made the military the way it is, right? So, in that situation of the firing range, now, because I did not qualify, you know, I know I can't shoot no rifle. I don't like rifles. I don't like guns. I'll shoot somebody though. No, I ain't gonna shoot nobody. Listen, I don't deal with guns at all. Just joking. So now, uh, I didn't qualify on a rifle range. I think I had to get like 170 score or something, shooting at targets, you know. And no, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't go in that swimming pool neither. But nevertheless, when I went, and because I failed, and a few of us failed, especially Tuggles, that to send him to home. His nerves shot down with his bowels they just couldn't make it after that what you call that gas chamber. They had to send him home. I mean, his bowels was just completely whacked. Nervous system shot completely down. But it was training, right? So now, several of us did not pass that rifle range for qualification. So let's just say it was 9 of us. I don't know. They took us back to the gas chamber. Yep, no mask this time. Because we did not shoot a rifle correctly, they punished us. It was about 9 of us. I don't remember. That's been over 50 years ago. But I do have a pretty good memory. I remember Purnell holding that rifle the way you did. But there's some things, no, I black out. I don't know all that stuff. That's why I'm getting some of this stuff out of me now, so I can have more room in my brain to do some other things with, you know, punish us if we failed at something. So I know I mentioned in one of these videos about how I almost died from a heat stroke. And that was during boot camp training. Now, I did a little study on heat stroke afterwards and found out that, my brain could have shut completely down. Too much of that fiery sun. And Paris Island, South Carolina in August. But what was going on? We were running around the track. We had to do, you know, oh man, you talking about in shape. The best shape I ever been in. But uh, we were running around the track and I dropped and I fell out. And when I fell out, they had like these slabs. It was like, I don't know, maybe 10, 12 feet of slab concrete. And it was, had a water drain and everything. Good morning, man. It has a water drain in it. And we used to scrub our clothes there, stuff like that, prepare our starch hats, look like a real soldier, a tin can Marine. Powerful concepts. Don't get, hey, look, I'm talking about my experience, but systems work. Most of them, as long as they got the right people working them. But now, so now this this failing to run around the track. Now I felt I felt the rifle range, right? And I felt running around the track, but literally fell out. Oh man, they moved so fast. And that slab of cement, they picked me up like everybody knew what to do. We were all kids, but it's like everybody knew what to do to save my life. So the sergeant told them to go get buckets of ice. The other ones put me on the slab, and they came and they kept pouring ice on me, but buckets and buckets of ice all the way up to my neck. Not buried in ice, but it covered pretty good. And I mean, it saved my life. So now, the next day, I'm court-martialed. I don't remember if I got court-martialed for failing the gas. I got court-martialed for falling out in the hot sun. They say, what's wrong with me? My brain probably fried, man. Cracked from racism and fried from that sun. I don't know. I know the Holy Ghost got a hold of me now, though. But when it came down to failing, I got a punishment because I couldn't run around the track and keep up with everybody else. And you know, in the military, if one person failed, they all fail. If one person got to get down and do exercise because somebody didn't do something successfully, they all had to do it. You know, worked pretty good in unity as a team. And yeah, like one man marching, that sound, oh, that marching. Ooh, that was exciting. But my punishment going to court martial because I fell out in the sun, they put me in like, let me see, like a chicken coop. It probably was a chicken coop. I didn't know anything about chicken coops back then, but it probably was a chicken coop. And I had to squat down. I had to squat down like this for 8 hours, but not just standing still. I had to walk like a duck. And if I say right here is where I started down here. And they say, remember, Felder, someone's always watching you. Now they got this little gate around this little, uh, like I said, a little hen house, little chicken house. And I had to walk down out the chicken house on the slant like I guess they was calling me a chicken. I don't know. But I had to do that for 8 hours. But now they gave me a spoon and said, this is the spoon you're going to eat with. So I had lunch and dinner, right? As court martial, I had breakfast that day, but I had to do lunch and dinner. Or was it the next? I don't know. I done some time, like 8 hours, because I fell out in the sun. And squatting in the duck position, I had to walk from like right here in duck position, and I'm gonna keep on going for a minute. And then, because it was a small area, I had to walk to like right here. I don't know how many steps I took, but right here was a circle. Right here was a circle. A nice headline around it. In that circle was a pile of sand. But now, remember back there? I forgot to mention that was a circle. So I had to get down and walk like a duck. I had to take the spoon that he told me I was going to eat with because they was going to bring me my lunch and dinner. So now I had to take that spoon. That was what I did for like 8 hours. Duck walking. And every now and then, any sergeant would walk by. Somebody's always watching you, private. And I had to duck walk, put the spoon in the sand, walk over, duck on over the way to the other circle and put the um, spoon full of sand in that empty circle. And I had to do that all day. Now, I probably couldn't do it now, my bones, but I can still do this here. Yeah, I can do the, what you call I call it the preacher squat. But anyway, and I got my ankles on today with my foot support. You know, I got to wear braces sometime. So yeah, I was polio, so it came back somewhat. My bones are old. But nevertheless, I had to do that all day. Take a spoonful of sand at a time from one circle and put it in the other circle. So I look at that and say, wow, this was really some cruel punishment. I mean, that's how I look at it. Now, the military and the United States government, they may look at it as training. Uh, I can't say I've seen any racism with punishment. They didn't care. When it came down to being punished, they punished anybody. It wasn't about no color in the military. Now, of course, racism, I told you, it was concentrated in there. But um, When it came down to that, nah. Another thing I really enjoyed about the military is, but I wasn't married. The government, they are strict on marriage, like the Bible. Man, I love that. Um, because, I'm looking at my marriage today and people have tampered, but I'm going to talk about that in another piece of film. Let me stay here with the military for a minute. Yeah, I couldn't get that film done, man. It's hot up in me. It was so hot. Anger is about anger. It was so hot, the robot didn't receive it. So I got to do it over. But nevertheless, my punishment, my punishment for just failing that. So now, like I said in another film, that I learned racism in the military, concentrated racism. So some of the things I learned in the military, they were somebody that goes to the extreme. I mean, extremism. And I know I learned that. I go to the extreme, like I'm going to the extreme right now, and I think it's been about 5 days. A nod here and there. I really have a difficult time going to sleep right now because the other night here in this area, sometime in the rural area, I don't know if it's anywhere else, when there's a storm, the electric go out. And of course, I depend on God to breathe. But God also used these wonderful minds of the people that He created, and I'm on a CPAP machine. So now, when the electric go out, of course, that machine is not going to work. Now, anybody that don't know about a CPAP machine, it's a machine that helps us to get enough oxygen so we don't choke or die in our sleep. So the other night, I almost died in my sleep. But because when the electric went off and I was still asleep, I didn't know, so I wasn't breathing in the air. So when how I jumped, and I had to snatch the mask off my face. I got to get a different kind of mask. And you know, um, I can't talk about marriage right now, but yeah, if my wife was home, she would have. She stays up and she loves movies, so and she watches those movies very well. She knows of my difficulties, uh, especially with breathing. I need to breathe. Oh, I need to breathe. Yeah, I got to breathe. But, so my mind went into extreme about things. And I don't know, a lot of things were happening, so fast in the military. Even my time, they got me out of there in a hurry. As quick as possible. I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. And uh, um, maybe some of that gas done something to my brain. I don't know. I know one time when the guy, he was a big guy he was a swimming coach. And I was a little thin guy from Philadelphia. I looked up at that big dude, man. I say, man, look, I'd rather rumble you than to go into that water. He said, man, you ain't got to qualify. You good. It's almost like, you black. We know y'all ain't do a whole lot of swimming. So if you go out there in the water, you're in that water. Die, Blackie, die. But anyway, so another interesting experience when it came down to the extremism, from boot camp. Some other thing happened at boot camp. Well, let me tell you about boot camp a little more before I go. And it was, it came down to during that time on the block where I lived, a lot of guys was going into the military, right? Because it was just happening, no jobs and stuff. So, one place you go. So different ones. And when I went in, they was like, the scary Junebug went in. Look, they could go too. But no, one of my cousins, he went in, Thomas, and he done his time and he went straight through, I happened to cross paths with him while we had boot camp at the same time. But then I had another brother. Well, he wasn't my brother, but my mama took him in because he was. They called him back then sissies, and his mother said he was a sissy, and my mother was always involved with the community. I'll talk about that another time. But my brother, his name was Charles. There was two brothers named Charles that my mother took in because their mother, one died and the other one wasn't receiving him as a sissy. But of course we embraced him. And um, he went in the military. Now, the one Charles, who his mother died, he came home from Vietnam and his wife was on his neck because he was in prison for 5 years also. And so when he was on parole, his wife was like, she's the boss. Women was doing that back in the day when a man got out. It was like the boss. I'll call your parole agent. And my brother was on drugs. He was a heroin user. He was a drinker, smoker. But when he got married, he was more like a closet junkie. He hid his addiction. He hid his alcoholism. He hid smoking cigarettes from his wife because she was on his neck with the parole board. So sometime I ran into him, like I say, he's not my real brother, Charles. And he we would meet down, down at where they were selling drugs at in Philadelphia, the hottest spot in Philadelphia. And he would say, yo, Bug, man, don't say nothing. Man, that's between you and your wife, you know. I ain't got nothing to say, but what happened to him was that pressure, he already had experienced Vietnam, got shot while he was there. And when he came home, went to prison, his wife just kept on being a nag, and all the stress, wanting him to fit into a certain box and go to church and be a good husband. And he was still a junkie. And every now and then we met at the same corner, not like we met on purpose. And we lived in the same neighborhood nonetheless, after we grew up and stuff. But one day, I had a job. I had a job for a minute working at the state store. What a job! The state store in North Carolina, they call them ABC stores, the liquor stores. And I got a call. Manager called me up and look in his face was like something going on. So he says, uh, "You need to call your mother." And I said, "Okay." I called. She says, "We need to come up to the house. Lorraine needs to see you." Now, Lorraine, that was his wife. Yeah, we called her sister-in-law. It's just like we call him brother, but it wasn't real. And he went downstairs on her birthday. He went down in the basement on her birthday. And his daughter, she was daddy's girl. And she wanted to hang with him. So he told her, she would travel around the house with him, everything, sticking right with her daddy. And so he told his daughter, go up and tell mommy I got a surprise for her birthday. And she said, okay, daddy, okay, daddy. And she went on up there and with that surprise, right, for his mother's birthday, it was a surprise. He put the rifle under his armpit. He blew his brains out, and it was happy birthday, Lorraine. She had drove him most part. He was just trying to get the pieces back from Vietnam, but sometimes people don't understand. Man, I said this before. We're a different kind of breed. especially going through the Marine Corps. I don't know about those other places, but it's something about even the other Army or service, like the Navy and Army. They look at it. They look at Marines strange too. They call us jarheads. And but my brother killed himself. He wasn't like I say. And then the other child, he went in the military. My cousin Punchy, he survived Vietnam. My brother, my brother Pick, oh Lord have mercy, Cornell. That poor soul, they trained him to kill. And he wanted to go to Vietnam. He wanted to go, but he had that Philadelphia mentality. You know, he wound up getting a bad discharge, a bad conduct discharge. I mean, he was singing in there. He was touring with the military and stuff like that, singing with his group. But he had a heavy drinking problem, a very heavy drinking problem. One day he came home on leave, and nobody really knew, but he would catch the Rams. The Rams, if you drink too much booze, the wrong kind of booze, you act like a fighting idiot. Very strong, a whole lot of power. My brother, they wouldn't let him get that war out of him. He tore that house up. The living room, the curtains, the telephone, the wire, everything, the bedroom on the floor. He just went through there like a Tasmanian devil. So now a lot of us was on the block because the block was always busy. So they called my cousins and everything. It took about 5 of them to hold that man down because he had that war up in him. Yeah, they had to knock him out. That wasn't the first time. But then that other brother, that Sinai brother Charles, he went into boot camp, and him, my cousin Thomas, and myself, we were all in on Paris Island at the same time. Now remember, this brother was a sissy. I don't mean no offense to anybody. That's what he was called. I ain't gonna use the F word, but you know, he had that flair. But he was a rumbling dude. Don't play around. Yeah, and but he got there, and our paths crossed. We couldn't hardly say anything to each other. You know, that was like, man, that was trouble. So somehow, while we passing our platoons are passing in the chow hall, he tells me, he lets me know by moving his lips that he going home. And I was like, that's impossible. You can't get out the military. Are you kidding me? He said, no, he going home. So I asked him, how did he do it? And, he stuck his finger in his mouth and, made a kind of motion. But when I had a chance to talk to him, he says, I went into the commanding officers, the commanding officers, let's say a lieutenant, a colonel office. And he asked if he could perform and certain act upon him. You know, they discharged him that day. Oh, he knew how to get out. He said he wasn't going through it. And yeah, they discharged him right away. But I'm going to make a move. It's getting a little hot, and I think I done 2 laps, a lap and a half. I don't know. I'm going to cut through this path in a minute. But I don't like walking on the grass. But anyway, uh, that time, uh, I was a baker in there, and it was we had those midnight hours. Bakers, they bake early in the morning, 2, 3 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night, and 11, 7 in the morning, stuff like that. And but the gang of us, we were all of us. We had a lot of pot. You know, at times it was told that the commanding officer of the entire Camp Lejeune base, his son was supplying us with the weed. And it was amazing because on certain holidays that they celebrated, we had good weed. It's like it was all controlled. I'm not saying that his son was in control like that, but it was like when they allowed us to celebrate. But My extremism is another factor that contribute to, I'd rather be by myself and alone like I am right now because I don't like bothering people with my thinking, talking and sharing or ministering or facilitating a group or something like that. Yes, I enjoy that kind of stuff. And I know God gonna have you back in it soon enough, one way or another. But the extremism, one day after I had went through so much in the military, and I was being, just driven. I was getting a write up like every week. They were taking my money. I was getting fined for being disobedient and not obeying a lawful order. Those were the main two. And we were smoking that weed in the kitchen, all the bakers. But we went up. We got a ladder and we went like up. It wasn't an attic. It was like a storage area. So the weed smell would be throughout the kitchen. And all of us up there, it's lights and everything. All of us up there, and we smoking. And I don't know if somebody's foot fell through or something fell through the ceiling where we had somebody, whoever's in charge, not me, we had to explain, they had to explain what happened to the ceiling. That's a lot of trouble. In the military, they make a difference what color. I mean, some people got away with stuff, of course, you know that. But so the sergeant, gunnery sergeant, he was black. Man, he was pissed off. He was angry because he got to report that, and wow, that went a long way. So, of course, the stuff came back downhill. You know what stuff I'm talking about. It went up. Whoever got in trouble. And then, like I said, when one person in the military, your platoon, if they do one thing wrong, everybody has to pay for it. And that's just the way it was. So everybody had to pay for it. So they had all of us to do this mass. I mean, we cleaned. Oh man, it's like 2, 3 days. They made us scrub everything in that kitchen. Harsh punishment. We bakers. We ain't no cleaners. But of course we had to clean. But when it came down to that type of cleaning, that should have been like part janitor, part baker. But they had us clean.